ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। भज गोविंदं गोविंदं भज मूढमते। योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा संगरतो वा संगविहीना यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव। भज गोविंदं गोविंदं भज मूढमते। भगवद गीता किञ्चिदधीता gaṅgājala-lavakaṇikā pītā sakṛdapi yēna murārisamarchā kriyatē tasya yamēna na charchā। भज गोविंदं गोविंदं भज मूढमते। गोविंदं भज मूढमते। So as we have been seeing in the last class, we saw yoga rato va bhoga rato va sanga rato va sanga vihina yasya brahmani ramate chittam nandati nandati nandatyeva. Whoever you may be, whichever way you are, what you need to do, you need to abide with yourself. So when we discussed this point, also we can take it little differently. So I thought of, because if I talk everything about Brahman, Atman, one's own self, so it becomes very convenient for you to escape from yourself. I am nowadays, Vedanti. So I am no more, I don't bother about it. I am always dwelling upon me, myself. So it's a distracting way of looking at one's own self. Let us look at little differently. So I thought of, that's why reading it once more. Yoga rato va bhoga rato va sanga rato va sanga vihina. So we can look at this first line, 2 lines, let us say, the way it is being put, with reference to different ashrams. So when we say different ashrams, generally we talk about Brahmacharya ashram is always under the guidance of the teacher. So when Brahmacharya ashram is under the guidance of the teacher, so that need not be talked, because the teacher always keeps the eye on the person. Whereas other 3 ashrams, sannyasa ashrama, whether vanaprastha ashrama and grihastha ashrama, so these 3 ashrams have to have some type of discipline, some type of understanding, or else things will go other way around. So here, in keeping with that, we can look at this verse also. Yoga rato va. So yoga rato means here sannyasa ashrama. So yoga means here jnana. So whether the person is engrossed in sannyasa ashrama means always dwell upon the knowledge. Shastrartha vichara all the time. Bhoga rato va. So bhoga means all sort of enjoyment. The sense objects are available at disposal, means the person who is here a grihastha, a householder. And sanga rato va sanga vihina, with people or without people. So it can be taken as vanaprastha ashram. Vanaprastha ashram means those who are new. Because we have this ashram vyavastha, means a stage of life you are supposed to spend in this way. So first we say from 6 years onwards, it starts 6 to maximum 12 years. Remember, that was our concept in Vedic culture. A child maximum can stay with the parents maximum for 12 years. Means depends upon lot of factors involved. From 6 to 12. After 12 cannot. Means before teenager, the child has to leave parents. Child is not supposed to grow up with parents when goes through this adolescence, which is not healthy at all. Because parents cannot handle. That is how all psychological problem happens. So the child has to go to Gurukulam to study under a teacher with a lot of rules and regulations, where the teacher will polish the child. So that is called Brahmacharya Ashrama. After Upanayana, there is a samskara. After that called Brahmacharya Ashrama. Under guidance of the teacher, the student studies. So it goes maximum, let us say 25 years. Then after 25 years, 24 to 25, so getting permission from the teacher, comes back to get married. So marriage period is called Grihastha Ashram, where, please understand, Brahmacharya Ashram is mainly discipline oriented, mainly adhyayana oriented, studying, you need to do study, learning oriented predominantly. Whereas in Brahmacharya, in Grihastha Ashram, karma pradhana. So you have to work. Because of this Grihastha Ashrama, all ashrams depends. So everybody depends. That's why you have to work, karma pradhana. And how you have to work? What you have studied, in keeping with the knowledge that you have studied, you have to work, not the way you want to work. Not allowed. So that's why, then after that, once you work and you have your child, you send your child to Gurukulam, studies, and that fellow comes back and gets married. Once he gets married, you are not supposed to stay in the house. This is a rule. Nowadays, parents send their children to separate house, or they leave whatever way. It's not like that. You have to leave the house. So you have to take the life of austerity. Generally, it happens around 50s. So that means you have to take up the austerities. Either you go alone, or you go with your wife. Both way is allowed. With wife can go with husband or can go alone. So now what happens here is Vanaprastha Ashram, what is called tapa pradhana. Tapas means austerity. Predominantly you take up a lot of austerities to dissociate yourself from your habitual error. We'll be seeing in the next verse, don't worry. Then what happens? Then after that called sannyasa ashrama. Sannyasa ashrama is called jnana pradhana, where only you dwell upon that knowledge. And also there is a gradual process, another is jumping also. From brahmacharya one can become sannyasa, directly can jump. Both are allowed. So here he says, yoga rato va, bhoga rato va. So yoga rato means here a sannyasi, or a bhoga rato, a grihastha. Sangarato va sangavihina means a vanaprasthi, whether with spouse, means with wife or without, with other people or without. What happens? Yasya brahmani ramate chittam. If the person's mind does not dwell upon the Brahman, the totality, definitely that person is not going to enjoy life either. Because the purpose of all this ashrama vyavastha is to dwell upon the totality. So what we call as a Brahman in Vedantic language, this is the point I would like to highlight, that's why I brought it. In religious language, we call as God, Bhagavan or Ishvara. Because if there is no Ishvara in your life, not the concept of the God religious people talk, that is a big difference, okay? Please understand. Because the God, if you want to say God in English, God has to be both material and efficient cause. God must not be insecure person. So you need to dwell upon God. So if the person does not dwell upon or accept God in life, definitely that person is not going to enjoy life. Because we need to really look at very carefully that only when you dwell upon God, when you make the God as a part of your life, then only you see the growth in yourself, you become a stable person. Remember, other than the Ishvara, everything is unstable, especially when bhogarato, when you are engrossed with sense objects. How you can see for yourself, which we'll see in details in the next verse also, because where same concept comes a little bit. Here, if you observe, especially those who have gone to Devaprayaga, there is a place called Devaprayaga. It's a beautiful place where this Bhagirathi, where we are under the Ganga called Bhagirathi named, and from there Alakananda, from Kedarnath Badrinath joins, and from there in English that is called Ganges. Here this is Ganga. For English people, because they had to put it in plural, Ganga, many rivers, so they named Ganges from there. That is what. However, coming back here, there if you take bath, very nice. The water force is so heavy, you cannot believe it. It is impossible to take bath. But as you go down, because you have to really many steps, at least minimum you have to go down some 30, around 30 meters. Maybe you have to go down, not 30 meters, maybe 20 meters, maybe 20 to 30 meters definitely. 20 meters, let us say 20 meters you have to go down. Then, when you have to take bath, there are chains. So, steel chains are there. So, you have to hold steel chain and take bath. Same thing also in Haridwar also. Sorry. So, you have to take bath while holding the steel chains. Or else what will happen? You are washed away. You will not be available. So, that means what? When the water is moving, means unsteady, and you want to enjoy the unsteadiness, you need to hold on to something stable, something strong. If you do not hold on to something stable or steady, without holding on to that, if you get into unsteady things, definitely you will not enjoy. While thinking that you are going to enjoy, definitely your dead body will be available or may not be available. You understand? Same thing also, all sense objects are stable or unstable, steady or unsteady. So whatever we try to enjoy or we want to enjoy, all are unstable. So when we are getting into unstable things, what do we need to do? We have to hold on to something called stable. And what is that stable? The God, here religiously highlighted. So when you hold on to God, definitely you, even though you are engrossed in, let us say, so-called the sense pleasures, which is not stable in nature, still you enjoy because you are stable by yourself. So here, either you take God or take Brahman, the Atman, yourself, but better to start with God or else things will not happen. Why? Keeping that, next verse goes, again given by another disciple, because you remember, I think I have told you, so each verse is being given one disciple later on. Punarapi Maranam, sorry, I made a mistake. Bhagavad Gītā kiñchidadhītā gaṅgājala-lavakaṇikā pītā sakṛdapi yēna murārisamarchā kriyatē tasya yamēna charchā. It's a beautiful way of looking at it. And of course each one talks differently, but don't worry. So if you look at the translation, as we have also given, one who has studied Bhagavad Gītā even a little, this is the literal translation, and who has received at least a drop of Ganges water, and of course who has worshipped at least once Lord Murāri, Vishnu, for him there is no confusion with reference to death. If you look at this, actually it does not communicate anything. So we need to be very careful and clear. Actually this verse talks about discipline. If you are a disciplined person, a man of discipline will not have fear of death. This is the essence of this verse. A man of discipline will not have fear of death. How? He says, starting with Bhagavad Gītā kiñchidadhītā. So here when he says Bhagavad Gītā kiñchidadhītā, remember, to follow discipline, you need scripture. Because discipline has something to be followed or to be imbibed in keeping with the scripture. Or else if you look at a terrorist, because my best example is terrorist, okay? They have more disciplined life than religious people. Because the way they train themselves, you cannot believe it. So can you call them as a disciplined people? Because they have target differently. So that's why in order to develop discipline, you need the reference of a scripture. And what is the scripture? Plenty. Aneka shastra bahu veditavyam. There are plenty of scriptures you cannot think of. Each scripture has got thousands of verses. And it says, Alpasya kala bhava vignaha. You have very less time. But there are many obstacles. Then what you need to do? Whatever is essence, you have to pick up. Yat sarabhutam tat veditavyam iti. Whatever is the essence, that you need to study. Interestingly, Bhagavad Gītā happens to be the essence of the scripture. That's why in Hinduism, I do not know how and when they declared that for Hinduism, Bhagavad Gītā is a religious scripture. Because maybe they got confused when every religion started declaring their own religious scripture. I do not know, I need to study, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. So then Hinduism did not have anything like, there is nothing called Hinduism. There was nothing called Hinduism. It's a funny word being created by Britishers. Like Aryan and Dravidian. There is nothing called Arya. All these are, silly thing the historians have destroyed. And based on that, there is a division in South India. So we are called Dravidians. Others are called Aryans. You cannot believe it, what nuisance is going on till now in India. They are destroyed. So who is Hindu? Who lives in the Sindhu river valley. They are called Hindus. You understand? A Sindhu river is only in Jammu, Kashmir and Pakistan. So that means what? Hindus only lived in that place. If you look at in South Africa now, we are able to find out Shivalingas. Almost everywhere now Shivalingas are available. Forget about that. What about South India? So that those who lived in the valley of Sindhu river, they are called Hindu, is a totally, wrong history. And historians, always are being paid to destroy the history. Let me not get into. So like how this Hinduism came, Hindu from living, those who lived in the bank of the river, the valley of Sindhu called Hindu. All this destruction has happened. So now let us look at Bhagavad Gītā. That's why. Remember, one has to study. Here it says, kiñchidadhītā, not little bit. One has to study the essence of Bhagavad Gītā. One must know the essence of Bhagavad Gītā. So what is that essence of Bhagavad Gītā? Or else it is a disaster verse, okay, you understand? It will devastate everything. So what is the essence of Bhagavad Gītā? Lokesmin dividha nishtha pura prokta maya nagha. Second chapter, those who have exposed. There are two types of lifestyle. There are two types of commitments. One is karma yoga, other one is jnana yoga. Remember commitment, but understanding is one. So you can have your lifestyle. Lifestyle can be different. But remember, knowledge is one. There is no different types of knowledge. So in order to have commitment towards the knowledge, you can take off lifestyle that is suitable for you. And he says only there are two types of lifestyles. One can be engaged in the activities, and one can really get committed to the teaching completely through the activities and through the teaching. So here he says, Bhagavad Gītā kiñchidadhītā. That's why you need to know the essence of Bhagavad Gītā. So that means it is a discipline. That means you have to study the scripture every day, in short. Because if you do not study the scripture every day, remember why? You can see this point. You have different types of habits. Or you can say addiction. So when you have one addiction, you need to develop another healthy addiction to overcome the other addiction. Like we use the thorn to remove another thorn. If you do not have a thorn, can you remove another thorn? So when you are addicted to many things, then you say, no, I am not addicted. All my addictions are very minimal. I can get rid. Yes. That long addiction appears to be weaker as long as you have not put effort to get rid of it. The moment you try to put effort to get rid of it, that time you discover whether that addiction is really weaker or stronger. So that's why you need to develop the habit of studying scripture every day. And second type of discipline is gaṅgājala-lavakaṇikā pītā. If you take literal translation, if you have sipped once the water of Ganges, just once enough. No, not like that. Here he says gaṅgājala-lavakaṇikā pītā means another type of discipline. When gaṅgājala means called a pilgrimage. So you go to pilgrimage. What is a pilgrimage? Means there is some type of austerity. Whether those days or this day makes no difference. This day is less, those days worse it was. Because when you take up pilgrimage, you have to accommodate many things. Starting with your food. The food habit that you have in your place regularly, you cannot have that. Don't say, actually Swamiji, we come to pilgrimage nowadays new style, okay? To change food habit. Very good foods are available. In fact, we go for only that sake. That is not the purpose of pilgrimage either. And also your comforts, your room, your all these things, whatever you have daily life, you have to also accommodate. You may not get or you will not get. So that means when you take up pilgrimage, you are mentally prepared to accommodate anything and everything that comes on your way without any murmuring. Remember. Without any complaint. That is the purpose of pilgrimage. Not everything is planned, you understand? So the planned one is not pilgrimage. Including menu, okay? Menu has to be decided on which day, what breakfast, what lunch, what dinner. That is not pilgrimage, okay? So that is called party. However, so second type of discipline is austerity. So what is austerity? Austerity is nothing. Trying to see your habitual error. So whatever habits you have developed, you want to see the limitations of your habit. That is called austerity. Like we have, regular, this Ekadashi, sometimes Paurnami and Amavasya not to eat. So these are again small things, helps you to see how that day, Ekadashi day, you will get more hungry. The day you decide not to eat, that day you get more hungry. Have you not noticed that? Because not that your body is you are hungry, no, body doesn't want. Because mind, the moment you try to see the limitations of your habit makes you crazy. So that's why gaṅgājala-lavakaṇikā pītā, second type of discipline. Third one is sakṛdapi yēna murārisamarchā. So the one who has, literal meaning is what? The one who has worshipped at least once Murāri, Lord Vishnu. Here we have to say not once every day, once in a day at least. The one who has worshipped or who is worshipping God every day at least once. Why? Remember this thing. You need to see this point very carefully. That's why previous verse and this verse. You need to worship God. Because if you do not bring the God in your day-to-day life, if you do not accept God in your day-to-day life, you cannot be a stable person. We say very carefully, the home has to be made as a temple. Don't try to convert a temple into home. Nowadays, temples have become home. You understand? You have to convert the home into temple. So what is the difference? Please understand. When you start worshipping God, if you cannot do elaborately, don't worry. At least when deity is there, whether it's a photo or statue, whatever, keeping the place ready, offering some flower, of course a lamp has to be lit. And whatever you have, please offer. Means for you, the God is, the deity is first, you second. Means you being enjoyer becomes secondary. Can you see? So when you cook, for example, you cook for yourself, you never cook for anybody. Even if your guest comes, what you do? And you understand? Smelling, and also some people take the things nearer to. Wow. It's not allowed. And of course, ladies have more bad habit. Ladies, also gents. Why I have to blame only ladies? Gents. To taste whether food is good or not. Hey, you are not supposed to. That means if you are tasting food, you are a stupid person. You don't have common sense. Because seeing the food you could make out. Smelling the food, because from not, remember, not consciously. As you enter to the kitchen, you should be able to understand whether the food is salty or not, food is spicy or not. What is lacking, you should be able to understand just entering to the kitchen. That is, the alertness person should have. Not tasting, not smelling, is not allowed. So what I am trying to say is, you never give or you never cook or you never do anything for others. Always you try to involve you yourself first in the name of others. Here when you bring the God, first you bring God. You do everything for God and you take everything as prasada. We have discussed in Bhagavad Gītā, prasada buddhi. We'll see some other time. Now there is no time to discuss. That is another big chapter. So when you start doing it, nothing to worry, just offer some flowers, let the lamp be lit. If you cannot do anything else, whatever you cook, without smelling, without doing anything, just offer and then you eat. What will happen? Two things will happen. The first thing will happen is, the sense of enjoyment in you. You as an enjoyer will be weaker. So when you as an enjoyer becomes weaker, automatically your ego will be polished. So tomorrow if anything goes wrong here and there, you will not bother much. It's a direct impact. And of course, when there, you cannot afford to be lazy. Because you have certain disciplines you develop. If you have to go to office 8 o'clock, for example, 7:30 you can get up and change the dress. Some people don't take bath, but spend time to take care of the face, okay? And rush to the office. Whereas if God is there, you cannot afford to do that. Whether you like it or not, you have to sweep the place. Because night, that is gas, tamas has taken over. Night stands for tamas. So the tamasic, the laziness, the letharginess is being prevailed in the home. So you need to sweep, even though there is no dust. So that means what? Your mind becomes different, everything. So that means minimum half an hour before you have to get up for sweeping, keeping the place ready. And of course, when you do puja, even in 5 minutes, your mind becomes different. So that means what? You can see for yourself, when God is there in your life, you cannot afford to be a lazy person. Means tamas will not take over you. Once God is there, but they will say somebody, don't worry Swamiji, my God listens to me. Whenever I want, I can wake him or her up. Whenever I want, I can wake him or her to sleep. Hey, please, don't do that, okay? My God is very accommodating God. Hey, please, God's sake, don't do that. If that is the case, don't worry, you will remain as stupid you were. Nothing will happen to you. Some grace will be there, but nothing will change in you, okay? However, coming back. So, when you do this, then what happens? Two things will happen. That is what it says. I'll take 2-3 minutes extra. Says carefully that a religious person is less prone to disease. It's a study, okay? It's not my statement. A religious person is less prone to disease, whereas the person who is not religious is prone to disease. So, and we say disease is nothing, again, the work of death. Kala tattva, we use the word very carefully, so related to the time, related to the death. So the moment you become a religious person, as you know, this is what I have to talk some bluffing language that you understand better. What is disease? Disease is nothing. The 90% of the total disease comes under psychosomatic disease related to your mind. So when you are a religious person, automatically your mind is healthy. And of course, a lot of research papers are there now available. How religious people are better, healthier than common people. So now when you become a religious, bring the God in your life, first thing is what happens, you are a healthy person, not only physically, also mentally. And of course through this, when you understand the truth, the reality, means you are immortal. So definitely there is no fear of death either. So when you start worshipping, relatively the fear of death reduced. And when you understand the totality, that you are immortal, definitely there is no fear of death, because there is no death, you will not die either. That's why discipline yourself. When you discipline yourself, you will discover death will not be any cause of your fear. More of it we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.